Welcome back to episode 7 of season 2 of Listings and Lullabies, a girl dad's journey with your host, Varun Verma. My name is Vikas Sandhi, and for all of those that are watching, we've got a legend.
A legend
in
yes,
Cincinnati. I feel like we always have legends in Cincinnati at all of our shows.
In Cincinnati, I guess, right?
Yeah. And I'm just going to preface this right now as a warning. We're going to take it back to the 90s in this episode. Because for those of you who don't know, this man right here, his name is Christian Bradley, and don't worry, we'll introduce him in a second, but me and him went to high school together, Walnut Hills High School, class of 98, brother.
Oh,
yeah, go Eagles, fly Eagles.
Fly Eagles, fly.
Yeah, it's weird saying fly Eagles, fly in Cincinnati, right? Yeah, 49ers fan here, but so we kind of were going to go all over the place. 90s, we got a lot to talk about, and so Varun, I'm going to turn it over to you to kind of introduce a little bit of Christian, and then Christian, I know you're going to do a little overview.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is your boy, your connection. Your guys have an OG relationship. So, funny enough, we met randomly on a rooftop. Yes, but my wife and Ziana were there, and we just kind of connected and chatted, and ended up that you went way back with my brother Vikas. So,
how did I come into the picture of that?
For some odd reason, I always ask all the Indian guys.
So, it was, and I was like, actually, that's my brother.
That's my guy. You know, it kind of happens.
Exactly.
Guys I know,
and then
all know you, so that's why I always
we just kicked it. So yes, Christian Bradley, a legend here in Cincinnati. Super excited to have him on because you actually are giving the first different perspective that we haven't had on this show yet, which is a college daughter. So you'll be the most experienced of the fathers we've had on this. So excited to dive into that. But before we get into that, share a little bit to our listeners and viewers who you are, where you're from, what you're about, and then we'll dive in.
Sure. But thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Honored and just privileged to be here with you guys today. So my name is Christian Bradley. Born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, Walnut Hills High School. Since 92. 7th graders together, FEs together, all the way through 98. That's a long time ago. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time
If the walls could talk at that school, man. If the walls could talk.
If the walls could talk, yes.
They would
and
say.
the after parties, too.
Well, I was at church. I went up to I was always, I was not with my father, maybe be a good soul. So, but besides that, regarding just life with the UC.
Yes, sir.
And Bearcats, go Bearcats. My daughter's junior at UC, go Bearcats.
Oh, nice.
Yes, awesome.
She's doing really well.
Yeah.
Again, a father of one junior in college daughter. Her name Olivia Hendricks Bradley. Really good kid.
Olivia, love that name.
Amazing young lady. She makes me smile. She's the best part of her mother and I, the best parts of us. So, good kid. Really can't complain.
Awesome.
PR major.
PR, okay.
Yeah, public relations major. So she's doing really well. I'm in HR, talent acquisition.
Okay.
Been in the space for about 10 plus years.
Yep.
I recently took a new role with a company called Community Health Alliance.
Okay.
Community health, okay.
Yeah, so that's behavioral health. I'll be managing all the talent acquisition for them.
Oh, nice.
But I was at TriHealth for 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of my team over there. So I was at TriHealth, and that team over there had a group so much as an employee, as a man, as a TA specialist or human resources professional over there. So I owe a lot to them. To be in this new role I'm in now. So this is my space. I'm looking forward to getting through the conversation.
Awesome.
Oh, wait, you're selling yourself short. Tell us about what you're doing for the community, and we're going to dive into this.
Okay.
But you also got to talk about that real quick. We'll dive in later, but tell us about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I do have an LLC. We'll be a nonprofit soon called Fly for the Low. What Fly for the Low is, I help men efficiently and affordably, help men get the interview clothes they need to interview, work, things like that. Awesome. Kind of like a dress for success for men. I also do reels on Instagram about how to take like one suit, make it like 5 outfits.
Love it.
Because I think a lot of guys don't know you can take a blazer, a pair of tan pants, and just make it 5 different fits, right? How you take a blue suit and make it 5 outfits, a gray suit, the basics in your closet. I call myself the Tim Duncan of fashion. It's Mr. Fundamental.
That's a great, wow.
It's just the fundamentals of fashion. You build out from there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually, we'll dive into this, I'm sure we will. I just started a partnership with the Urban League. to partner with them.
Oh, shout out to Urban League.
Yeah, that's
Urban League.
So Ebony Young, Chrissy Coons, again, Eagles.
All Eagles, baby. All on a hill.
So happy for that partnership, and we'll kind of dive into that later on.
That's awesome, man. We love to hear that because that's a passion project for you. What we're doing here on the podcast is a passion project for us. So amazing to see others out there because that just helps us just continue our motivation, continue to work and grind and just contribute to society.
Yeah.
Because we are blessed, we are talented, and utilizing that for the greater good and to give back is. So I appreciate you for doing that. Yeah, we're gonna definitely dive into all of that. So Olivia, you have a daughter. 20 years old now.
Just turned 20 last Friday.
Okay. Awesome. Congrats. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So 2005. Damn, I was graduating high school in 2005. Okay. Awesome. So congrats to that. Let's bring it back a little bit. Let's talk and dive into the main feature of being a girl dad. So talk us through 2005. What was that experience like, and what has that journey been, and how has that helped you grow in career and maybe even your passion project?
Sure.
And being a girl dad, what do you love? What about her has changed you, and what have you changed for her?
Sure. So I'm gonna be a little transparent.
Yeah.
And be brutally honest.
That's what we want. That's what we love.
In regard to Liv. So I think the cops may know this, but I was in her life the first 6 years. The first 3 I was in and out.
Okay.
And then the next 3 I was not. So I removed myself. I was a deadbeat. Oops, I'm sorry. I was a deadbeat dad. Which I wasn't raised that way. My father was in my life. He raised me as a single father. My mother left when I was like 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I take that, I own that, and I share that story with people that say, I'm not this perfect person that started off as being this light and shining armor, when it came to my daughter.
Yeah.
I was out here partying, having a good time, kicking it and doing different things, and I wasn't the father, I wasn't mature enough, I wasn't responsible, I was just not a good person in those days. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the representation my father had for me as far as what a father is.
Yeah.
So basically in 2000, I want to say 11, 12. She was 6. And I just was, my boys and my father, like, we haven't seen Liv, what's going on? Like, I'm making up stories. Well, should I want me to see her? I ain't reached out to see,
Right.
So I finally reached out to her mother and was like, hey, what I got to do to be a part of Liv's life? What I got to do? And her mother was like, her mother got married and was like, she doesn't know who you are, but actually, I found out her grandfather told her when Liv was like, that's like her mother's husband wasn't her father.
Oh.
I didn't find out until years later. After I reached out to them.
Yeah.
So, so Liv had this in her head, like, okay. And then anyway, so I started doing my part. I started, hey, can I see her? And me and her mother would meet up once a month at Bob Evans and Kenwood.
Okay.
Just me and her.
Okay.
Talk. And her mother was very angry at me, as she should have been. Very angry, very angry. And it took, then I reconciled with Liv, and I would see her for maybe 3 hours a month. I would go pick her up. Or I would see her, meet her at a meeting spot, see her on the Sunday from like 12 to 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it maybe went from 12 to 6.
Wow.
And then it went from, and then Liv made, I want to come over, and then her mother wouldn't make her. Sometimes she did make her.
Okay.
But other times, Liv would say, well, Dad, I don't. So it was this for about a good 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
It was just this filling out process, these things.
Yeah.
And then I never went downtown to get visitation rights because I didn't want her to be forced to come see me.
Sure.
I wanted to build the relationship organically.
Yes.
Because I felt like it was my fault in the first place that it got to this level.
Wow.
So I didn't want to force Liv to see me. I didn't want Liv to be forced to, to do something she didn't want to do. And I didn't want her mother to give her mother anxiety and her new husband, things like that.
Okay.
I heard so many issues and problems of people when you come back in trying to force. I just didn't want that.
Yeah.
So I prayed and was like, I know we're going to be able to build this thing. Just staying the course. And as she got older, we were building and we were growing. And I would spend more time with her, and I would get her on the weekends, and I pick her up from school by her junior year, and I was involved in proms and homecomings and graduations. And the picture that I'm most proud of is Liv's high school graduation. Snap.
You're good.
High school graduation party.
Okay.
Not party, but graduation photo at Xavier.
Okay.
That photo was a very, very culmination of 13 years of two people coming together.
Wow.
And putting aside, personal issues, professional issues, strife, hurt, betrayal, all the things for that little girl.
Yeah.
You had three people come together, me, her mother, and her stepfather, in an amazing picture that was not fake.
Yeah.
I see Olivia's mom, it's a hug. I
Yeah.
go over it. When I see her stepfather, her other father, it's, what's up, my guy, you doing?
Yeah.
We laugh, we talk.
Yeah.
But that's 13, 14 years of consistency. I made mistakes during that time. There's things her mother did I didn't agree with as well. But her mother's a good mom. Tony's a good man, a good father to her too. And we came together, and here we are. So, and that's one thing I asked Liv. I said, what was the thing that you learned about your mother and I? She said, forgiveness.
Wow.
She said, I learned that two people can work it out. It's not always, if you do something wrong to somebody, it's cut off automatically.
Yeah.
And she's seen her two parents come together. I'll take full responsibility for my actions.
Yeah.
And lack thereof.
Respect.
First 6 years.
Yeah.
To build this relationship I have with my baby where we go, we have sushi every week for lunch. We do things together. She knows about HR. She had a class about, interviews. So me and her sat out and did interviews with her, mock interviews. And her and I relationship is very, very, she comes to me about a lot of different things. And I'm glad we have this relationship that we have.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed for us to be able to work and talk about the things we talk about. I'm blessed that she feels that she can, be vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
She told me when she was 17, she had a hard time calling me dad. When I first reconciled with her.
Really? Okay. Makes sense.
Because she had a very hard time. But I had to earn that.
Yeah.
I had to earn that. I think a lot of us, we come back in our kids' lives and just, it's earned. Now, out of respect, she called me dad.
Yeah.
But it was times when I would see her, I would drop her off to her home, and her stepdad would come out, or other would come out, and she, hey, dad, and she would light up, and she would give me that same love. And I felt a way about that, but I also had to understand why that was the case.
Yeah.
And I had to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
And I think if I could tell anybody that's listening to this podcast, most of them, I'm pretty sure, are good dads from the start, from the kid was born up until now. Now, I was there when she was born. I was there her first couple of months, but then life happened. I can't, it was no excuse for that. It's no excuse. But if I can tell anybody who is in a situation that I was in back, in 2005, it's not about you. It's about that kid.
Yeah.
It's about that child.
Yep.
It's not about the mom. It's about her.
Yeah.
Or your son. Make sure you are doing what's in the best interest of that child, because that stuff scars them.
Yes.
That stuff they see. They're smarter than what we think they are. So please, they pick up on things.
Mm-hmm.
So please, make sure you're doing this in the best interest of the child. That's why they go down to differentiation rights. I didn't want to make Liv feel forced and have this back and forth with her mom. I wanted this to make happen. And now we have an amazing relationship, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. That is a wild journey.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story, because it's not always picture perfect, right? I didn't know that story. And
rarely is it picture perfect.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and that takes a lot for you to, you made the mistakes or whatnot, whatever was in your mental state of mind at that time to step away from being a father.
It's irresponsible.
But,
It's just totally irresponsible.
But something in you came about and flipped a switch, whether it's, your boys hounding you and things like that, you realize that you look in the mirror. So that takes a huge step and growth as a man to say, okay, I need to be back in there, but also the way in which you did that, because like you said, others could just force themselves, argue with the mom and say, no, that's my daughter,
the legal
I need to
route
see her, and things like that.
Right?
It's like, but no, you had the wherewithal and bandwidth to realize, okay, this is what I want in life, and this is the relationship I want with her, but this is how I need to do it. And you understood that's going to take time too. Because you mentioned, okay, what was your proudest moment, right?
Yeah.
That was a question I was going to have for you. And also, what did you guys learn from it? Your daughter learned forgiveness.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that?
I learned that redemption takes time.
Yes.
It's not overnight.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, you both are married.
Yeah.
You can tell your wife, if you have a certain pattern of behavior for so long,
Yeah.
and your wife has told you for so long, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And you say, you know what? Okay, I'm going to change. It's going to take time to change that.
Right.
So it took time to earn her mother's trust.
Yeah.
Me and her mother did not hug each other for 10 years.
Yeah.
The first time we hugged, I think it was maybe Olivia's, I want to say maybe her junior prom.
Junior prom.
Or actually, no, it was actually her sophomore year for Christmas, I think.
Wow,
In the
first
pandemic.
time.
Okay.
We hugged like in like 10 years.
Wow.
The time you guys weren't supposed to be hugging.
Yes. It was.
Yeah.
So building that back up, building that, it's just that redemption and that trust.
Yep.
Her mother and I have a pretty good relationship.
That's awesome.
We text, we call, we have conversations. I can be honest with her about things. And I don't feel judged. I think I've earned that from her mother and her other father as well. So for me, it was more so that if I can be honest and straight about these conversations, then I can be honest and straight about any conversation.
Yes.
And I think, if I can be vulnerable about, people look at me differently. People look at me like, Christian's this guy. I'm blessed to have grown to be this person. I still got way to go. I'm still climbing. I'm still I'm not soaring. I soar, but I'm not soaring where I want to soar.
Right.
But if this story helps anybody, that's the thing about it for me.
Yeah.
I'll take because I know where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And even then I would admit it, like, I wasn't. But now it's like Christian is doing these things, and I do it to honor my father, and honor my daughter.
Yeah.
And also honor my friends. Like, me and this guy been friends for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want to, me and you going to be friends.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to be around my people I respect and admire and say, I fool with Christian. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He adds value.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adds value.
It is not transactional.
Exactly.
It's a genuinely adding value.
That is so huge.
Yeah.
That adding value, like having relationships that are intentional. Right.
Yes.
Not transactional.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be with Liv where, like, for instance, I've been off work for 4 months. I left Tri-Health back in February, took a package, took some time off.
Yep.
Thought I have a job by now.
Yeah.
Well, and I just kept interviewing. I kept on getting turned down for roles, which it is what it is. So my money was getting kind of tighter because money's coming in, but something's coming out.
Yeah.
So it's always coming out, right? So Liv's birthday was last week.
Okay.
And I said, sweetheart, I might not have a lot of money to really do. She said, I don't care.
Yeah.
I know this one. I don't care. Even if you did, I don't care. So I gave her, we had sushi, got her a cake, gave her some money, and she was perfectly fine. She's spoiled, but she's not a brat.
Yeah.
She's a great kid.
There's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
Oh, for sure.
She is spoiled, but she is not a brat.
Right.
And she's appreciative. She's considerate. She's a very kind person. She's a very kind person.
That is awesome.
I always say that's the best parts of her mother in me. I always say that. It's the best parts of her mother.
Yeah.
She procrastinates. She's a little lazy. Yeah. What a 20-year-old isn't, right? What kid isn't, right?
Yeah.
But she's an amazing young lady.
That's fantastic.
I have nothing but positive.
For you all to persevere through those rocky times,
Sure.
is a testament for your guys' commitment.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are some low points in those 20 years or in those 10, 13 years that it took for you to get to that point, that high moment and proud moment. What was your lowest moment there? And did you ever feel like, okay, maybe I need to step away. Maybe this vision wasn't right and it's best for them to go. And how did you handle that?
Oh, that's a great question.
So that's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to something that happened when I was a child.
Okay.
So my mother left when I was 9 years old.
Yeah. My
father got divorced. But my mother, they had joint custody of us.
Okay.
So my father, it's too long a story to get into why he got full custody, but he filed full custody of me and my sister.
Yeah.
And my mother didn't contest it. So moved in with my dad full time. That's what it was. Now, my mother asked my uncle, my father's brother, do you think Chris, who's my father, do you think that if I took a step away for a year, this would do me? My first time got married young. They got married at my high school. They got married at 18.
Yeah.
They had me at 17 at Withrow High School.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they had me in 1980, 79, 80, you got married.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So my mother asked my uncle, you think would Chris have an issue with stepping away for about a year and just do me?
Yeah.
Just do me, travel, do what I want to do, be what I want to be, whatever. My uncle was like, no, you're a mother and a wife. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
No, he's not going to say yes to that. So she divorced my father. They got divorced, or whatever. And so she ended up back and forth, whatever. So fast forward to 30 years.
Okay.
I said the exact same thing to somebody. Do you think I took a year off?
Wow.
I mean, the exact same thing verbatim.
Wow.
So genetic code, like just the exact same thing.
Wow.
And somebody told me that. I think my mother might have told me. Like I said, I was like, whoa! I said that to somebody. This is when I was back in Liv's life already.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was thinking about, I wasn't stable. I was partying all the time. Nobody would know. Like, the cops would take me out, him and his guys, I'll be drinking with them.
Yeah.
I ain't have no money. He knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been having a good time. It was a lifetime ago.
We would kidnap Christian.
It's crazy.
We kidnapped him a few times. We'll
Yes.
get into that in a little
Yes,
bit, but go
yes.
ahead with your story.
But I didn't have any money like that. I was party kicking. I had
Yeah.
friends who, and I mean, so I grew up in the church. I was very sheltered.
Yeah.
So I'm in college, and I'm just nightlife. I'm just wilding out, man.
Yeah.
Just wilding
Yeah.
out. And there's no excuse. I mean, I was going from job to job and just irresponsible is the better word for it. So
Well, because you're scared of the unknown.
Yep.
You know, this is a huge, and we've talked about in other episodes that the mental health status of the father when they hear about having a child and then have the child, a lot of it, their thought goes into, okay, how am I going to raise this? And then also how am I going to provide for this, right?
Yeah.
The monetary part of it and things. So then that you're lashing out in the sense of you're trying to find answers in with your boys and picking and things like that. So it's, so I understand.
Answer your question. I'm all about to answer, to answer this question.
Yeah.
The rock bottom moment for me,
Yeah.
I was in Rookwood Pavilion, where the Old Navy is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
And I saw Olivia, her mother, and her godmother walking down. I was driving by them. I ain't seen Liv in like 3 years by this time.
Wow.
Right? Haven't seen her. I saw my daughter walking with her mom. They had just left my dad's house. Didn't know this. They had just left my dad's house. My dad, her mother took her to go see my dad. And they left my dad to go shopping. My father ended up telling me this about a week later and said, Olivia came over here. Chanel told me the story. What you doing? Lied to me about
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Okay.
And I saw that, could not go and speak to them. I could have, but it'd been ugly.
Right.
My dad, so now I'm looking and I'm wondering, why all these things happening to me? How come I can't keep a job? How come my money ain't right? How come I'm not? How come I'm getting evicted from? How come I can't? And it's because I want to do right by my daughter. And I'm not going to talk about karma, but it's like, if we put good energy out there, it comes back to you. If you're blessing people, you're being blessed. So I said, I'm not the person. My father, I didn't raise you like this. I didn't raise you to be this towards your child.
Right.
So it was a convicting moment. It was a very come to Jesus moment. And I reached out to her mother that week and said, long text, like, what I got to do. I apologize.
Yeah.
Her mother reached back out, and it wasn't a pretty text back.
Yeah.
But I went through that for about 3 years from her mother angry at me, as she should have been.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't blame her mother for how she acted.
Yeah.
You know, and her mother was very angry and said some things to me. And
Oh, I'm sure.
and she had every right. And I take total responsibility and ownership.
Yeah.
Because if I would have, regardless of mental health, I made a choice.
Yeah.
That's the thing about people with my mental health.
Yes.
People want to blame. No, I made a choice.
Yeah.
I was in my right
And you're
state of
admitting
mind.
it. I mean, you're admitting it. You're on a
absolutely.
podcast.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah.
that is huge.
I was in my right state of mind. I was 25 years old and I made a choice.
Yeah, think about what are 25-year-olds doing right now?
Correct. You know, people
Not that we live in the
Yeah,
same world,
that-
but yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
There is mental health, but there's also a choice. Yeah. There's also right or wrong, left or right. Yes. Yes or no.
I'm hanging out with Vikas. I'm hanging out with my daughter.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
I mean, so again, I take full. I hope anybody who listens to this podcast understands the transparency. I'm not doing it because it's the honest God truth. I'm not going to come up here and be Father of the Year.
Yeah.
This is how I got to this place.
Yeah.
I got to this place because I started here, and I
got you.
Here, thank you, brother.
Yeah.
You know, animated.
You talk with your hands. I know that. I know that.
And I move here.
Yeah.
So I don't want this interpretation of myself that I've always had together, because I haven't.
Yeah.
And I haven't. But if you work at it,
Yeah.
if you're not in your daughter, your son's life.
Yeah.
And if you just put yourself in and put everybody, just put them in first.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, all they want to do is spend time with you. All they want to do. Olivia, 8 years old, he's at my dad's house.
Yeah.
8 years old. We were riding her, showing her how to ride a bike. She looked me right in my eye and said, Dad, when you weren't around, did you ever think about me? I broke that. Right now, I'm getting like.
Yeah. Oh
she
my
was
God.
8. Like, did you ever think about me, Dad?
Yeah.
Did you ever think about me? And I was like, baby, I did. I'm sorry. I start crying.
Yeah.
A big hug. It's just, we miss so much when we, in those formative years, right? I missed a lot.
Yeah.
I missed a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I was here for the last 13. But I'm here because I've seen and I've experienced and I've seen this young lady grow to be this amazing young lady.
Yeah.
Who I'm so proud of.
Yeah.
And I would not want her to go through what I've gone through.
Yeah.
My mom not being there.
Yeah.
The therapy and the trauma I've had to deal with that, and the therapy that I've had to go through to get over that. How it's affected my relationship with women and things like that. I didn't want to live to feel that way.
Yeah.
My daughter don't, and I pray this for all girl dads. My daughter don't see no validation from another man. She don't even date for real. She's like, I'm focused on school.
Yeah.
But she has two fathers. She has, and not a lot of African American girls have two fathers. I don't call her stepfather. I don't call Tony stepfather. That's her other dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there. She was 1 year old.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. He was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was there taking her to the hospital and pick her up from school and all the things.
Yeah.
With her mom.
Yeah.
So she has two fathers, and not a lot of black girls have two fathers.
Yeah.
Let alone one. Right?
Sure.
So I want to make sure. So it's all about her. It's all about making sure she feels safe, secure, so she can, be honest with us about her situations, and she can, and also knowing her father takes full responsibility. And that way she can be vulnerable with me and understand what's going on. So I'm sorry for talking.
This is what we're here for. Yeah.
No. Like, I was just gonna say the amount of does everyone out there realize how much courage it takes to come up and say this? What you're saying,
Right.
I can't the guts and the courage and the accountability it takes, right? Like
1,000%. 1,000%, because there's a lot that you went through to get to that point to send that text, and continue on, because rightfully so, the Olivia's mother could have been F you, no.
Yeah.
that could have been the end of it.
That could have been the end of it.
Right?
Close the book.
Yeah.
But she said some things that you had to take as a man because you deserved it. You knew that, and you had to fight through it. So share with us, to other listeners and viewers out there that are in those unfortunate situations, made a poor choice to walk away but want to come back, or maybe they're in a battle for their custody for their daughter, their son. And share with us some advice that you would give to those listeners and viewers to keep fucking going. Right? And stay with it, because now you're here in this moment with your daughter, 20-year-old. You're meeting her for lunch. So you're on birthdays. You have Wednesday sushi, weekly dinners. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. So share with us some guidance there.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not about. And I know that people are emotional. I won't say men, and I'll say people are emotional. When a woman is hurt by somebody, she gets emotional. And some people use the kid as a leverage against you. It happens. So obviously, you go down to court systems, do things like that. But I would also make sure you take care of your business. Make sure that you are doing the best you possibly can, and keep your word to your kid. It's been times where I couldn't do for live, and I started going to do something. I said, baby, I can't do it. I'm sorry. And she's, okay, that is cool, because there's times where I made her mad and, whatever. But to stay the course is tough, especially Olivia's mom told me I was not her father. Tony's her father. This was the first 3 months of us reconciling.
She told Olivia?
Told me that.
Oh, she told you. Oh, got it.
Because she was angry.
Yeah, of course. I mean, rightfully so.
You have not been there.
Yeah.
Right.
He has.
Yeah.
He's my husband.
Right.
And this is not despair. She was angry, had every right to feel how she felt. And she told me, the only reason I'm allowing you to see her without going downtown, because I don't want to be blamed for you, not for me not letting you see her. I don't want. She's gonna see who you really are.
Yeah.
She's gonna see.
Yeah.
So don't screw over my daughter.
Yeah.
That's what she said. My daughter.
Yeah.
Not our, my.
Yeah.
My daughter. Wow.
I'm playing with my kids. My kids.
Yeah.
Not our, my.
Yeah.
Never forget the conversation. Never forget it. And I said, and I remember I called my father. I was on the bus coming home from work. And I said, Dad, he's like, you want sympathy for me? I didn't raise you this way.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She has every right to feel how she feels.
Yeah.
So you gotta take this.
Yeah.
And if I took the course, I had a buddy of mine who we're no longer friends, but he was like, man, F that. You need to go down to the courts and did it. I'm glad I didn't do that.
Yeah.
and I see his situation, his kid's mother is so volatile and toxic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Consider the source. Consider hey, make sure y'all getting advice from people who qualify to give you the advice.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Amen.
1000%
Mic drop.
done.
You know, make sure you're getting advice from people who are qualified to give you the advice.
Yeah.
Everybody ain't qualified.
Ain't that right?
Also, make sure that you're getting therapy and advice from people who have not given you the trauma that you're getting over.
Preach, Christian.
A lot of us get advice from people who are giving us this trauma.
Yeah.
And then we use that advice. It didn't work for you. Why would it work for me? You know? So I would advise people to just fathers, if you're looking to get back in your kid's life, just be completely honest. Don't blame their mother.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't do. Now, there are things her mother did that I didn't agree with.
Sure.
But her mother Chanel's an amazing mother, an amazing wife, an amazing person. Shout out to Chanel Freeman. Like, she's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I have nothing but respect for Olivia's mother. You know, and she told me the only reason I'm letting you see her because I don't want her to blame me for this. So we're gonna see who you really are.
Yeah.
I hope she sees this podcast. I hope she don't get mad at me if she sees this podcast because I know she's very private, but it's very relatable for people because if you have a mother of your child who's angry with you, she's angry because you're not there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's about the child, and if both of y'all put yourselves out for the child, then you know me and she had a plan of action. We altered that plan based off of her able to trust me.
Yeah.
So I had to just take care of my business. And I faltered along the way. I'm not going to sit here and say I was perfect those 13, 14 years. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I owned it. Give you another example.
Yeah.
Liv has scoliosis.
Okay.
So Liv had to get her back fused.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
So around the time she was getting her before she had the surgery, she was getting these treatments. This was like 2017-ish, I want to say. I lost my job. And I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a contract role at Citibank as a recruiter.
Okay.
At $20 an hour. It's terrible. And I was at the Vault. Remember the Vault in Shoreline?
Oh, yeah.
My cousin was a manager there, so I would do bar backing and bartending there part time.
Nice.
So I would take a bus. Now this is why I had lost everything. I lost my DHL. I lost my apartment. I moved back in with my uncle. It's 2016. Hit rock bottom. 2016. 36 years old. And I moved my uncle with Silverton. Caught a bus from Silverton to Erlanger every day to Citibank.
Wow. Yep.
And then caught a bus from there to Clifton to work at the bar.
Wow.
5 days a week I did this.
Yeah.
So I didn't see Liv for like 5 months.
Wow.
Didn't call.
Yeah.
Didn't tell her mother what was going on. Cause I was like, here we go. I'm embarrassed. So Liv had her surgery. Her mother didn't want me to be there. She was like, we haven't seen you in 4 or 5 months.
Right.
You can't just turn this stuff on. And this is after the reconciliation. This is
Yeah.
after. So there were bumps in the road still.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I apologize. I lost my job. I'm working 2 jobs. She said, Christian, I know that. But talk to me.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be a parent when you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just take time off when things go bad for you.
Yeah.
You know, you got to talk and communicate. After that didn't happen again.
Yeah.
She was 10 years old when that happened.
Okay.
So when I ended up coming the next day after the surgery, and her mom was like, she was angry, but which I totally understand. And Tony was kind of like, trying to calm her down. And so, but there were bumps in the road even after the reconciliation.
Yeah.
I made some mistakes.
Yeah.
And I had to re-earn trust and re-earn these things.
And what I was going to say was the hard part happens once you've accepted what needs to happen and then to build that trust.
Exactly.
That's when the hard part happens.
yes.
People may
No
think
room
that,
for error.
just sending saying that I want to do this, I want to be a father again.
Yes.
You think that's the hard part. No, those first 3, 4, 10 years are the hardest.
Hard part is the work.
And you have to be ready
part is
for
the
it.
work.
I had no room for. She said, Christian, she said, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you have no room for error.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately,
There's no grace period here.
There's a grace period here.
Yeah.
You have no room.
Yeah.
And I totally understood, and I just made sure that I communicate with her. Hey, this was going on. This was happening. She knows it. That way and there it is. And she could feel a way about it or not.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But from that point on, I made effort. I communicated. I did what I was going to do. I didn't. I was like, hey, you know what? Unfortunately, I can't do this. Can't do this.
Yeah.
And I made these adjustments. You have to pivot.
Yeah.
And it's like you guys pivot all the time. You guys are fathers of young kids. So you got to pivot and all the things.
Yeah.
So, but but my daughter didn't live with me. You know what I'm saying? She's in Fairfield, in North Avondale. So that was 30-minute drive.
Yeah.
But one thing I did do that built some credibility, more credibility, was every Tuesday her junior year, I picked her up from school. Every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. I would leave the office and pick her up from Fairfield, her high school. She lives 15 minutes north of the high school, by the way.
Okay.
Fairfield Township.
Yeah.
Off the bypass. We would go get some McDonald's or get something to eat, sit in the car, talk, take her home. And she loved that.
Yeah.
She loved that hour that she hung out with me.
Yeah.
You know. And that just keep building and building and building. And then just now in college, and I'm blessed to be able to pay for her tuition. My mother pays, hers down the middle, I pay tuition. My mother pays room and board. You know, so I'm blessed to be able to do that and be able to say, Liv won't have a bunch of loans come out of college.
Yeah.
You know, because I pay for it and I'm blessed to do that. We have a partner to do that. But I mean, if I could tell anybody the one thing, just be consistent.
Yeah.
Be consistent.
Be consistent. Like, be accountable, dependable, and be consistent and communicate. Because
communicate. That's the big one.
Is key in every fashion of
it. Yeah. Yep. And she the mother may get mad, may get pissed off at you, whatever else. But as long as you're and the kids see.
Oh yeah.
Like the kids see it.
They see it all.
They see what you're doing and what you're not doing.
Yep.
They see they can depend on you, be reliable, everything else. They see it. So regardless of what the mother may say, the kids see it.
Yeah.
So if you're showing up, if you're consistent,
right.
If you're trying to, because you can go downtown to the courts and get it done if you want to, and that may be a hard way, and that may force a mom to do so, and it is what it is. You can't control what that woman says.
Yeah.
When she's mad, you can't control it.
Yeah.
But as long as you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, then all you can do is just that.
Yeah.
And just pray that just fall where they may.
Yeah.
I was blessed with Olivia's mom wasn't really a toxic individual.
No, right. I mean, she sounds like,
she wasn't toxic. She was angry. She had, but she wasn't toxic.
Yeah.
She could have been eviscerating me if she wanted me to live.
Yes.
You know, but she didn't. And make her own opinion. And here we are.
And now here we are.
Here we are.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
It is.
You just have to take the first step to make things right. And it's not that's not like, oh, it's all done. It's the work that has to be done after that. You got to be able to take it. Like, you took it.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously were able to lower your ego, your stubbornness, whatever that is, and you took it and you held yourself accountable. And now you are here talking about it, dude.
The easiest thing to do, fellas, honestly, the hardest thing was to look myself in the mirror and say, I am the problem. That was hard. But I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. Now the work, to Varun's point, is that's the hard part's the work.
Yeah.
Because now you have to break these habits.
Yeah.
My pops was like, Christian, you have made so many mistakes and you made so many bad decisions and now become habits for you.
Yeah.
It's dysfunction.
Yeah.
You have been living in dysfunction for so long that you think it's just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't raise you like this.
Yeah.
Like, son, like you're just making these decisions.
Yeah.
Why are you making these? And decisions would be like, today is like, live today because tomorrow's not promised. Decisions.
Yeah.
You know, I lose my life to go to the bar, have a couple of drinks, and have a good time.
Yeah.
Not knowing I'm gonna pay the rent tomorrow, or
Right.
not knowing how I'm gonna get to work, or because I'm no gas. And I'm at the bar having a good time from 10 to 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
But 10 to 2 is only a quarter of the day.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. What were you doing the rest of the day?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Eight for the day.
Yeah.
Now tomorrow morning, I got my gas tank on E, all drinks on me.
Yeah, you're probably,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so I can own this because now I'm just not in that place anymore.
Well, and I think going back to like what your dad said, like, this is just me speaking out loud, is like what ended up having you find the right journey was honestly the values and the principles and the morals you already had inside of you from your dad.
Yeah.
Hence him saying, I didn't raise you like this.
Yeah.
That's what made you do all those right decisions at that right time, right? And that is the North Star. That is our guiding light, is those principles and morals and all of that we continue to inherit from the generations above. Going back to what you both were saying, the kids see everything.
Yeah.
So the fact that Olivia saw all of this and saw that you made all this effort, like, she's gonna now, that's instilled in her, and whatever that looks like in the future. And so, you know, no matter the people, the advice, all that, it's those morals and principles and those values that are so important.
Agreed.
Yeah, 1000%. Because we've said in other episodes, and people will say that yes, the dad is the daughter's first male relationship, right?
Yes.
So obviously, you shared that story that the first male relationship you had wasn't around, right?
Yes.
But sounds like she's now grown into someone amazing that has a great relationship with you and makes the right decisions and isn't making poor choices, focused on school, and that's what's important. They're not focusing on, you know, other distractions in college life. So you picked up in her life around 10, 11 years old, the teenager years.
No, about 6.
It's about, okay, six.
Yeah, six is what you started.
Okay. So then share with us after the toddler life. And
the first 3, I was in and out.
Okay.
3 and out. Okay.
I was in and out.
Yeah.
In and out. I was inconsistent, in and out.
Okay.
The next 3, from 3 to 6, I didn't see her.
Okay, those are the 3.
Okay, got it.
I
Okay,
didn't see her.
so around 6. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that was a choice. Keep on saying that was a choice.
Yeah. So that relationship with her now as a 6-year-old going into kindergarten,
first grade, something like that.
First grade.
Okay. So and then going into teenager years and stuff, because we've talked a lot about toddler life and those struggles and those trenches and stuff. So share with us your experience, your highs and lows. Kind of now you're involved in her life full time now. What were those highs and lows moments there as a 6, 7, 8-year-old kindergartner, first grader, all that? Yeah.
So the highs and lows, the lows were I wasn't able to spend as much time with her because we were still reconciling.
Yeah.
And our mother.
Those were the tough years.
Those were the
tough years.
Like from 6 to about 11.
Okay.
Was tough.
Okay.
Because her mother didn't trust me.
Yeah.
Her mother didn't trust me, and we. So we were, and I was still in flux. I was still figuring things out. I was still inconsistent in my job, in my career. I was still trying to. So her mother didn't trust me.
Yeah.
So that was what happened there. I saw light at the end of the tunnel around 2017.
Okay.
That was 7 years ago.
Okay.
8 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus. 8 years ago.
I know, time flies.
She was 12.
Yeah.
I started seeing. I got a tri-health, and I was there for almost 7 years until I left in February. But I had a stable career at the time in talent acquisition.
Yeah.
So I had a path. I was stable.
Yeah.
And she saw the stability.
Yep.
She saw the consistency.
Yeah.
And she saw what was going on with me, and she said, okay. And then these last 7 years have been just a dream.
Oh, awesome.
It's just been me coming to the house and hanging out.
Yeah.
Talking to her mom.
Yeah.
Again, graduation was amazing.
Yeah.
Me and her grandmother, her grandfather on her mother's side, talking and hanging out.
Oh, that's...
her aunts who couldn't stand me, talking and hanging out.
Yeah.
Her God. So all this stuff has been based off of consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency, man.
Accountability and consistency.
Yeah.
Me going out of me not going my way, but me making an extra effort.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I know Olivia, I can pick her up from school on Tuesday, or I can do this, or I can do that. I'll take care of these things. You can take care of these things.
Yeah.
Christmas gifts. What do you buy? I'm buying. Okay. Birthday. I pay for graduation party. All these different things because they do have 2 other kids at home.
You're right. Okay.
And Liv has a 15-year-old brother and a 10-year-old brother.
Okay.
From her marriage, from her mother's marriage with her husband. So I'm very cognizant of that.
Yeah.
That I would do all I can to take as much weight off of Chanel's and Tony's as I possibly can.
Yeah.
That I can do in my capacity. But it's been the key to all of this has been just the consistency and just the accountability.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's been the key.
Yeah. I would say communication, and I would give communication. I would also give you credit on the resilience to be able to take the heat that you had to go through.
It ain't for
because there's not a lot of people. Yeah, there's not a lot of people that would. Like after 3 years of that, like a lot of people would be like, "Man, I don't even know if this is worth it."
Yeah.
And they may revert back to like, "Well, I was out of her life for a few years."
And I almost did. So because, I almost did a couple times.
Wow. Okay.
Her mother wanted me to give her let her somebody adopt her, and me just all my rights away. And I almost did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm going to fight for this. She's not going to like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight for this. It wasn't a spider. It was like, nah, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And she didn't like it. Because she's like, you're going to be in that anyway. You ain't going to be
She didn't trust you on
She
that.
didn't trust me. And,
she didn't see the consistency.
And everything she was saying
Yeah.
was accurate up to that point.
Yeah.
And she actually told me, she said, Christian, I was actually about to send you some paperwork. In regards to, because you haven't seen her in 3 years.
Yeah.
So, give up your rights to Tony, let them be out of her life and just.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I said, you know what? I'm not doing it. And that was her mother thought I was doing it to probably spite her or whatever else.
Right.
And I'm like, nah, I want to be here. And her mother, gave me heat.
Yeah.
As she, now again, if she sees this podcast, I probably will text her and say, hey, I talked about you a lot in this podcast.
Send it to her.
I probably
like,
send it to her
hey,
like,
I want to send it to you so
you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Her mother had every right to feel how she felt and I actually appreciate her because she's a mama bear. She take care. You don't play about her kids.
She's got the instincts.
Yeah.
You know, you don't play. And I gave her every reason to feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, so I appreciate. You know, her mother sent me Happy Father's Day. The last 10 years, we've got a Happy Father's Day, Happy birthday from her mother.
Yeah.
That means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because her mother don't play about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
She
You know,
knows. She sees you.
You know, she, you know, I said her happy birthday. I said her happy Mother's Day as well. And I appreciate the relationship that her and I have cultivated over these last 15, 16, about 13, 14 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it could have went left.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It really went left.
It could have.
You know, I just, again, consistency, communication, accountability, dependability is what any of these brothers and these guys need to get back. And just that's what what it was.
Yeah, no, I love that. So what of all this journey that you've been on, how and what have you shared with Olivia, and how is
Everything.
that everything?
She knows everything.
And that's all made you stronger.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I've shared with her everything
Wow.
because she needs to hear it.
No, absolutely. I mean, yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I even asked her when she was in high school, I said, you know, is there anything I can be doing more of for you? What do you need from me?
Yeah.
Father.
Yeah.
What can I do more for you?
Yeah.
Besides buying you a new car,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. What's emotional support or safe support that you need from me? You're good, Dad. I'm gonna say you don't talk about anything, right? Yeah, I know. So, you know, now, I mean, even now, we, you know, I ask, what do you need, sweetheart? You know, are you good? How you feeling? How's your mental? How's your emotions?
Good.
You know, how are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, I'm good, Dad. Or well, I'm feeling like this and that. We'll sit there and talk, and I'm kind of like, I balance things off because her mother loves us. That's her girl, but her mother's a mother to her.
Yeah.
Her daughters are kind of, but dads are kind of soft when it comes to their, you know, our babies. Are you hard on your son? Well, I'm pretty sure your wife is more soft. Because she's a mom. You know, that's what mothers are.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be the same way with your daughter.
Yeah.
You're very soft, but mom gonna be like, hey man, you know. So Chanel, you know, not right now, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
my daughter put me in timeout, and I was sitting in timeout, and then my wife was like,
what are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing? Get your ass down here and put the dishes away.
What are you doing?
Yeah. I was like, why am I sitting here?
She got
Because
you
you
wrapped
think about
around
it. But if you had a son, you know, you like time out.
Yeah, time out.
Time out with this. I'm gonna time you out. You keep on messing around with me.
Daughter, like, yep, absolutely.
Okay, but whatever, you know.
It's crazy.
It's gonna change. But I know we mentioned about mood kids. Olivia never gave me the mood swing.
Okay.
That a lot of
we talked about this last week, and I told Varun about
you
this.
mentioned that
we
to
wanted
me,
to talk about this, like how the uniqueness of Olivia from other girls.
Dude,
right? Go ahead.
So I heard all these horror stories from guys.
Sure,
about their
yeah.
daughters.
Yeah,
and I actually saw it from my own sister. I saw it from my own sister. I knew she was moving when we were in high school, and just Lord have mercy. So I saw how she was moving. So everybody would say, she gonna turn into this bitch. I'm trying to tell y'all. She gonna turn into this. Just wait for it. Just wait for it.
Yeah.
And I waited for it.
Yeah.
You never came.
It never came.
It
never came. Like Olivia
Yeah.
never became like, now, did she get into her feelings on things? Yes. The thing I appreciate, yes.
Yeah.
But she never turned into this bitch. Like everybody said she's supposed to turn into.
Yeah.
Like sassiness.
Like just she never turned into it. She made little one-off comments in there, but it wasn't like.
Why do you think that is? Like, are there any
that's just not
any thoughts?
I think that I put it like this. I did see an interaction between her and her mother, and I was like, that's interesting. And because her and her mother have a kind of a back and forth sometimes. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And she'll do that to me, you know. But that's a relationship.
Yeah.
And she's not sassy. She's not a smart ass. She's not some little brat.
Yeah.
That's just how they talk to each other.
Well, everything, all I hear from friends and colleagues and, is, the daughter's sweet now, but wait till this age. And, your son is crazy now,
like
but at least,
I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
I honestly think it's how they're raised.
Yeah,
I think that's how they're raised. I think
back one more time.
I think the people. So I think the people.
Because the perception, the conception put in you, like, my daughter's gonna be crazy. So this is just normal. Let him be.
No, I think that people. I think two things. I think that today's parents, us, want to be our kids' friends.
Yeah.
Yes. True.
And there are no boundaries between mother, daughter, father, son.
Yeah.
Until it's been pushed so far.
Yeah.
Where you feel disrespected.
Yeah.
These kids, I feel a lot of kids feel entitled. I feel like they deserve stuff because they're living and they're breathing. That's not how we were raised.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I really feel like I believe this wholeheartedly, that there are no longer consequences for actions. Like, let's be real. Kids are bills.
They're bills.
I love my daughter.
They're bills.
Kids are bills.
Yeah, they are. Every month. Every month.
Kids. If you take it back further, kids procreation was happening on the farms. They able to keep the farm going,
Keep things going.
Irrigation, and you gave it to your oldest son,
Yeah.
and he kept it going, things like that. Okay.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Now we have a generation of kids who really feel like they're not supposed to do chores and they're not supposed to do. That's because
Correct.
their parents have not made them do it.
Yeah, they haven't implemented
They've
it.
not implemented that.
Right.
So how do you learn responsibility?
Right.
When I'm hiring somebody and I know a kid has not done all they've done is go to school and they've been given rewards for just doing what you're supposed to do in school.
Yeah.
But have you made your bed every day? Have you cut the grass, the house?
Right.
As a young man, you learn how to cook, because you learn how to maybe change. So I don't know, but what has been some things you learn how to do to help make you productive to society besides school?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like even recently, right? My son's 10, about to be 11, and I was making lunch for him the other day, and I was like, wait a minute. He can make his own sandwich. Like he does chores. He takes out the garbage. He helps clean up after dinner. He does a bunch of laundry, all that stuff. But I was like, now it's time. Like it can't just be that. Like now he's ready for that next level. And so I definitely agree that like it's about how you raise them. And if they, as soon as you see that sassiness, well then address it. Don't just say like, oh, well, they're just sassy and let it be. No, you need to proactively communicate with them about that, address that, and help divert that going in that direction, that trajectory. So 100%.
I think that kids should have a healthy fear of their parents.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying be shaking your boots when you see them.
Yeah.
Right.
But have a healthy fear and respect for your parents.
Right.
Because honestly, if parents are doing it right, you're provided for. You have a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back. You're going to school, extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
Things. My father told me at 17 years old. He said, Christian, by law, 1997, or junior year walnut.
Yep.
He said, by law, my responsibility is that you have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on the table, you get to school every day. That's by law.
Yeah.
All this extra you got, the hoop court in the back, the Sega Genesis downstairs, the car you drive.
That's all.
That's all extra.
Yeah.
I am not required to do that for you. That's extra.
Yeah.
So be appreciative, of this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our kids don't feel. I cringe. I'm in stores, or I hear about my friends' daughters, or even sons living. Just doing. I'm like, and they talk to them. I dropped what I'm doing for my father. I'm 45 years old.
Yeah.
I was at the gym earlier, and my father texted me and said, "Son, can you help me with something?" I got done. I went to go. I was late here because I'm my dad. That's my guy.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
This is a passion project. You and your dad's relationship is way more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my point is, fellas, is that that's something that our generation did.
Yeah.
We dropped what we're doing for our parents.
Yep.
Because we saw what they done for us.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids just don't do it. Well, I get to, no, I need you. And I think that if we instilled that in them early, a sense of respect, responsibility, it's hard to say no to Liv because she's a good kid.
Sure.
It's hard to tell her no.
She's earned it.
She earned it.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. Now, but she earned it. It's hard to tell her no. But when I do tell her no, she knows why.
Yeah.
And I think that if we're able to tell our kids, like, listen, I can't do it this time. I'm sorry, sweetheart, I can't do it. It's been times when Olivia texts me, Dad, can I have some money for this? I'm like, sweetheart, I just paid this big bill. I just paid your tuition. I don't have $50 this week to give you for going out with your I'm sorry. She's okay, that's fine. Because she knows that's 1 or 2 out of 10.
Because the 4 top things that are supposed to get taken care of are taken care of.
Yeah.
So I didn't have assassination happen with Liv. I pray for people who do, but I also feel like it's about, if you nip it in the bud. Yeah. If you see address it. And then go from there. Don't just let it go. If you see something that happens with your daughter, man, especially these formative years, let her know now. My father told me that by the time I was 4 months, I didn't touch his glasses. He said he would hit my hand every time when I was a toddler. So by the time I was like 6 months, I didn't do it.
Oh.
Yeah. You nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
Nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
You know, there are things my father told me that I knew what to do and not to do. I think that some of these kids just don't care because their parents don't give them a sense of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
No. You're absolutely right, man. Wow. That was a lot of.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest, I did not know this whole story.
I thought so.
Maybe it was one of the nights we kidnapped you.
Yeah.
Maybe it was one of those nights. But I mean, I knew some of it, but I didn't know all of this.
Okay,
And
yeah.
So I think we truly respect and appreciate the fact that you shared this because by you sharing this, now a lot more people can share it, and maybe they can own up to it and hold themselves accountable. Varun, anything else on the girl dad side?
Yeah.
I wanted to flip it over to
I want to talk about the your passion project for sure. So no, we to reiterate what Vikas said, this is what we want on this
This
show,
is it.
right? We want people to open it up. We don't want just all the highs and everything's perfect and no. We want to know because this is why we started this, to show the vulnerabilities and show the pains and the journeys that everybody got here to successfully call themselves a girl dad. And now you and Olivia have an amazing fucking relationship.
Yep.
And that is the high that someone, if just one person listening to this can hear your story and use that as motivation to be a better father, whether they're already in their life or whether they're about to be or want to be and need to hear this to say, let me get off my ass and do something about it.
Yeah.
And listen to the right people, like you said, because that's a huge factor too. It's like, you'll get advice. And trust me, we have boys that'll be like, nah, fuck them up. You got it, go get them. Yeah, right? And you could have listened to that person, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned too that that's not, that person's not in your life anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Good, right? Because we're all 40s.
Yeah.
We don't need that many people in our life anymore.
No, we don't.
just need
You
quality.
don't.
So to recap everything that you shared with us is amazing. It's a different perspective. Yes, you are the most experienced father in terms of age of daughter, but also you've gone through a lot more than most of the guests that we've had. So thank you for sharing that journey.
Pleasure.
So the next thing, and maybe you'll tell us the why behind this passion project, probably has to do a little bit of what you experienced kind of becoming a father as well. So share with us about the passion project you have and how you help these children, these men getting into careers and setting themselves up for success.
Yeah. Thanks, Varun. I appreciate that. So Fly for the Low was this thing that, I'm known in the city of how I dress. I've been dressing. People call me Farnsworth Bentley for a very long time. When he was popular, but even in high school, even in college, I always wanted to stand out. I always wanted to look the part. Yeah. Even if I didn't have the money to look the part. Right? Yeah. I always wanted to dress where I was going, represent myself in a positive way, and I would basically have about maybe 2 blazers and 2 pair of pants and a pair of jeans, a couple pair of shoes and different couple pair of shirts, couple sweaters. I would mix and match these things, and you wouldn't, unless you really looked, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't realize that it was
the same type of thing. I would just mix and match it all, right? So then I get into corporate America, get into talent acquisition, and I started to interview guys who would come to interview. So I have a story. I always tell this story. It's actually 2 stories. I'm gonna tell if I can really quickly. The first story was I took a gap year. After I left one, I took a gap year and I was working. Okay. So I ended up getting a job I interviewed for a job at Fifth Third Bank downtown here, right on the square. Yeah. And I went to the interview in it's 1999 now. I'm on this height, about 80 pounds lighter. Yeah. So about 155, 160. Yeah. Okay, or 6'3". So I'm wearing a pair of Eastland boots. Yeah, Eastland. I had a pair of Old Navy khakis. Okay. And a Nautica red shirt that was extra large. I'm wearing an extra large shirt. And everything's super baggy. It's 1999. Everything's super baggy. I knew better than to dress like that for this interview, right? Knew better. So get to the interview, go up to the floor, sign in, all that, sign in, right? Yep. Go in, lady comes and gets me. Very attractive lady comes out, sister comes out, looks me up and down and says, come to the back. Go to the back. She crosses her legs. Tell me about yourself. I tell her, Walnut Hills High School, taking a year off. My dad raised me. All this disqualifying me, right? Yeah. She says to me, looks me dead in my face, as fine as his sister was, and says, "What makes you think it was okay for you to come dress this interview like this?
Oh, really?
Why would you disrespect me in this job by dressing like this? You know better. Walnut Hills High School, your father raised you, all the things. You know better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why would you dress like this?
Wow.
You can do that. You can do that now.
Yeah.
But that
Back then, she
was. I was like, I put my head. She was like, put your head up. Why aren't you dressed like this, Christian?
Yeah.
Tell me. I gave her some answer. She said, okay. So I ended up getting the job.
Yeah.
I saw her 13 years later voting for Barack Obama in the 2012 election.
Yeah.
At the board. Because she's a very unique look. She was really attractive.
Yeah.
But she looked a little older, obviously. 13 years later. I kept on looking at her, I was like, is that her? And she kept looking at me like, why is he staring at me like
Yeah.
that? So I walked up to her, I said, do you remember, are you working Fifth Third? She said, I do. I said, I was remember me or not. She said, I do remember you.
Wow.
I see you dressed. I was at P&G at the time. She said,
Yeah.
I see you dressing differently.
Yeah.
I said, yes, ma'am. So that is something that has inspired me because honestly, we judge. It's 7 seconds to make a judgment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
7 seconds. I can't tell you many interviews that I've cut short because somebody was not dressed the part. So I had my own implicit bias that I had to, overcome. And ask these questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why are you not dressed? What's going on in your home life? I can ask that question. Not assume so what happened? You have a shirt and tie? What's the problem here? So you ask those questions to get a better understanding. And sometimes certain jobs you don't need to have that.
Yeah.
But so that kind of played a part into why I wanted to, remove barriers, especially for men of color, more specifically African American men.
Oh yeah.
Who don't have shirts and ties, don't have the stuff they need, are not equipped, and they don't feel confident when you go to an interview. If you're not dressed, or if the clothes not fitting you right, you don't feel confident.
100%.
Shoes scuffed up, socks,
right?
You don't feel confident.
Yeah.
So how can I help remove a barrier?
Yeah.
How can I help remove, a barrier and also help you get what you need? So instead of me complaining about it, I did something about it.
Yeah.
And I'm a one-stop shop. People want to help me volunteer. Again, shout out to the Urban League. I have a partnership with them to do their men's closet with them. Hopefully starting in August. I'll be doing seminars or doing workshops with them probably once a month.
Hell yeah.
Show guys how to dress and whatever.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, again, I'm the Tim Duncan of fashion. Fundamentals.
Yeah.
Fundamentals of fashion.
Yeah.
Blue suit, gray suit.
Yeah.
White shirt, blue shirt.
Yeah.
Red shirt, red tie, blue tie.
Yeah.
Brown shoes. Black shoes, reversible belt.
Yeah.
Blue socks.
I mean, your content is legit, man. I like how you just all of a sudden change and then it's like one outfit, two outfits.
Yeah.
See some of it.
I'm gonna do some more of this. We haven't done it in a while, but I try to just show men how to take your one blue suit, make it 5 outfits.
Yeah. Yeah.
How you take that gray blazer and make it 4 different looks.
Yeah.
Take those, certain pair of pants and stuff like that. So how do we do that? So just making sure, because if I have a kid who's come out of college with $500 to their name.
Yeah.
And they're working at P&G.
Right.
Or Fifth Third, in corporate, they need some stuff.
Yeah.
So how do we help make that money stretch?
So on that front, how can people help donate stuff?
Yeah.
And how can people that need the clothing, how can they get it?
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So donate. You can hit me up on Instagram, the Christian Bradley, or fly_for_low on Instagram.
Yep.
You can also email me at flyforthelow2021@gmail.com.
Okay.
Everything is the Urban League. I don't have an actual space. I have my basement. I can look around. As far as donations, again, email me at those addresses. Hit me up on Facebook as well, Christian Bradley.
And we'll drop this stuff in here too.
And also LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Christian Bradley. I do suit drives to the big suit drive 2 weeks ago with the Justice.
That was awesome.
Really, we ended up getting 300 suits. Gave 200 away. So we had 9 tables full of clothes.
That's crazy.
And then we had one table after 4 or 5 hours. So
I got a whole bunch of ties for you.
That'd be great.
Dude, I've got I've already told you I have so much stuff, and oh my God, we need to get it. Hey, man out there, if you have stuff that you need to donate, hit us up, Fly for the Low.
Yep.
All right, and obviously you can hit us up, Girl Dads Podcast.
Yeah.
And guys, if you need stuff, ask for help. Like, the stuff is here to be able to give you all what you need. Don't be shy, don't be bashful.
Yeah.
I'm here to try to help, help guys who need it.
Yeah.
We got advocates, we got spot, we got people here.
Yeah.
And also, I'm gonna throw a plug. If you guys
Yeah.
want to sponsor an event,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
throw some, you know,
We can do something.
we'll discuss what that looks like too. So appreciate you.
Putting us on the spot. Damn.
Hey, and if you want to sponsor us, you let us know.
I could do that too. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. So what's the goal here? What's the vision? What's the growth? Just take care of the youth.
So the vision now
Yeah.
is not just about just clothing. So once you have the clothing, how are you presenting?
Yeah. The etiquette.
When you're etiquette, when you're in interviews.
Yes.
Can you speak to the role? How's your resume looking?
That's where your work comes into play.
That's where my job comes into play.
Right.
So how can I help you now get your resume to look like,
Man.
I was on Vikas last week. I was able to help a housewife get her resume for a project management role because as a housewife, you did project management.
Yeah.
They're transferable skills.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very transferable.
If you were, she had her degree, which was cool because she was a kid, she went to college and got a degree.
Yeah.
But she was able to discuss how she was able to transfer her managing the money, taking care of her husband's books, his schedule, the kids' schedule.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Negotiating different things. She was able to transfer.
Negotiating bedtime, dinner
all
time.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Food.
She also was kind of her husband's admin,
Yeah.
his businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's executive assistant right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I'm like, you've been doing this stuff for 20-some years.
Yeah.
You got literally on-job experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
You had 4 kids, this and that, running 2 businesses.
Wow.
She was like the boots on the ground.
Nice.
The
Yeah.
marketing director,
Yeah.
all the things.
Yeah.
She marketed this company, did his flyers, all this stuff.
Yeah,
He was like, well, you want the kids are gone? He was like, I'm gonna not allow you, but she was like, I want you to work. I want you to do what you want to do.
Yeah, do what you want to do, right?
And she wanted to get out in the workforce, and now I think she had P&G doing really well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because
Fantastic.
but you also had a leader
Yes.
who saw that,
Yeah.
who saw that she can pretty much run a desk or do this based off of this skill set.
Yeah.
So I want to
Yeah.
be able to not only, so once you get your dress and everything, how can I help you?
From the
Yeah.
inside, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get the skills. Because
Yeah.
I got people pouring into me all the time about how to be better.
Yeah.
So how can I pay that forward
Yeah.
to people who need it?
Man.
So I did a commencement speech today with the Urban League for their SOAR program.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, 9 graduates who graduated a 3-week program in regards to this, how to be more professionally developed, more polished.
Okay.
And I did a commencement speech for them, and I was honored for that. I didn't actually do it last
shout out
minute.
to Urban League
Shout out
for
to
that.
Urban League for that. That was amazing for that. And I gave them a speech that was more so about how do we help you're climbing, you're soaring, you're climbing, but you're not done. How do we help you continue to make sure you're climbing, you're soaring to the roles you want to be, that you want? Be dependable, accountable, be present, add value.
Yep.
All these different things. So once you got this training, that's get you presenting well or present well, trained, and then empowered and push you out. And understand the training does not stop.
Yeah, never stops.
It never stops. The climb never stops. You may soar.
Yeah.
You may soar for a while. And soaring means just, gliding without assistance.
Without effort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
So how do you see, okay, now the next thing, boom. Because of your example, obviously you have 3 businesses, so you guys are always soaring, always climbing. What's the next thing? This dude has had like 3 or 4 different things he's doing at a time.
Yeah.
At a time, this guy's
That's because
doing
I'm
this stuff.
ADHD and I'm a Gemini. All right?
The next thing is going. So how do we tap? So I'm gonna lean in on y'all 2 to come. Talk to some people. When you got time and everything else, people can learn from
We
y'all.
would love that.
I see some synergies between all this.
Yeah.
Even like at the next Girl Dad workshop, have a little fashion, like kind of seminar or
I
something.
would love
like,
to do that.
There's
Whatever
a
you
lot of
guys
ideas. There's a
wanna
lot
do.
of community out there. Even just
Yeah.
having you talk about your journey, man.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope this whole conversation really helps somebody out there. And I
Yeah.
I
really
hope it
truly
does.
will.
I hope it does. It's been my experience that it has.
Yeah.
When I'm this vulnerable, because to me, I'm being vulnerable, but not in the space of hoping to get anything back up.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with my journey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in a good spot.
I'm
now.
not embarrassed
Yeah.
by it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Because I hope to help somebody else.
1,000%, because your journey can help so many people. Like we said, even somebody that's in that perfect family life right now that maybe they're thinking like, I need to walk away.
Yes.
Or they're thinking, maybe I just take a year to do me. And they're hearing this like, is you stupid?
Nah.
Yeah, right? Or what the other side looks like.
Yeah, you miss so much in that year.
Exactly.
And it's very selfish.
Yeah.
Like, these kids didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to be able to.
Yeah.
The kids didn't ask to be here.
Yeah.
And people don't really, I mean, people, they didn't ask to be here. So, you know, you could have strapped up or used birth control or whatever else.
Sure.
And you didn't. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, and I'm just being real. But they didn't ask to be here, and it should not, these babies should not have to suffer based off of our bad decisions.
Man.
Decisions and choices, man.
You know what I'm saying? They should not. And unfortunately, we see so many kids suffering in poverty or in abusive relationships. Parents, an unhealed parent is their child's first bully.
Ooh. Unhealed parents are child's
An unhealed parent is a child's first bully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Because you're taking it out on the kid. You're taking it out on the child.
Dang.
Yeah, you're abusing the child verbally.
Think about it.
That's the takeaway right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
An unhealed parent is
the
a
whole
child's first bully.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, and I heard that from somebody else. I didn't make it up. Heard it from somebody else. But it's just, I hear these things, and I think about, even though I got back and lived life when she was fairly young.
Yeah.
Think about my life. That's when I was, you know, when I've been through, the traumas I've been through with women.
Right. Yes. Yes.
You know, I was that bugaboo. You show me attention, I was on you.
Yeah.
You show me a little bit of attention,
Yeah.
I was on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was craving for my mom.
Right.
You know, I was screaming for my mother. You know what I'm saying? So if we're, you know, I think that being girl dads, man, we have a duty to our daughters to make sure our daughters are in the best position to feel safe, feel loved, feel accepted, respected, and also feel like I'm gonna hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know? You're a princess, but you make mistakes too.
You're right.
And you make and don't and also control your emotions. You could be emotional, but how do you act on that emotion? It's going to really set the tail. You know.
There you go.
You know, and I think with us as fathers, we love our babies. And one thing also I know we got to go. I'm gonna say this, and I'm done. I know we got to go. I'm gonna say this, and I'm done.
You got to go because you got sushi.
I mean, she'll be all right. The thing is this. I am very cognizant of how I treat women.
Yeah.
Because of my daughter.
There you go.
Yeah.
How I date now, how I move, I am very cognizant because I don't want no waterhead boy treat my daughter a certain way.
There you go.
I gotta be very, very careful and cognizant because I gotta be because I don't want nobody to treat my daughter that way.
Yep.
Man, you've dropped some gems today, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just being me, bro.
You
Love
dropped
that.
some gems today.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely.
Varun, any takeaway? I mean, you already dropped a bunch of knowledge on, but Varun, what takeaways for you as...
There's a lot of takeaways here, but the consistency and commitment thing is because there's times that it gets tough for me too.
Oh.
And to share that story and hear what else it could be and what else you would have to do to fight and get back in and lose what you currently have. But it's just, there's so much experience and value and love that you can give to your daughter at whatever time you're in her life or not in her life. But to see the growth and where you're at now with her gives hope.
Yeah, it gives hope. There you go.
And what one of the last things you said too is because I harp on a lot and I think on a lot is like how I treat both Ziana and her mother.
Yep.
Right? Because I take care of Ziana. She's my princess. She's my everything. But if the wife and I are fighting, the same kind of concept too. It's like, you don't want Ziana to see that.
Yep.
But my wife is someone's daughter.
Yep.
So
I think people are not cognizant sometimes that what you have again, even with boys, like how you treat your wife.
Oh, in front of him? Huge.
He has to see, like, okay, I see dad doing this. Like Chris Brown. Chris Brown said he beat Rihanna because that's what he saw growing up.
Oh, wow.
Still a choice.
Yeah.
Still a choice. Yes, absolutely.
But I dated a girl right out of high school who told me that I didn't like her because I was not putting my hands on her because her father would beat her and the kids. You don't pick the fight. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I'm not engaging her really. I'm like, why are you acting like this?
Yeah.
And she was like, you don't love me, you don't care about me. I said, what? Because you don't hit me. I talk crazy to you. You don't hear. I said, and I ended about 2 months later. But But again, like when people are used to that type of dysfunction, they think it's normal.
Yeah.
So I made it my mission with Liv. Even when her mother would say things that I didn't like, I never. When she would, make comments or whatever, which weren't few and far between. But when she did, I heard about it, or she would say, Liv would come to me with things her mother, they'd be beefing about something as teenagers do. I would always say, Liv, your mother loves you. Your mother, has your back. Your mother, you may not agree.
Yeah.
So I said, I wouldn't handle it maybe that way, but I'm going to tell your mom.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure there's united front. She's not going to come to me and try to say, well, my dad said, no, we on the same page.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that, again, I saw this in my dad, and folks won't be on the same page sometimes. And the kids see it. And my dad and my stepmother said, whatever Denise says goes. Don't come to me trying to play us against each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he set that tone.
Yeah.
And as fathers, I'm sure that's what y'all done or doing. But the kids see that stuff, man. I mean, kids are smart, man.
Kids are very smart.
They pick up things quickly. They are very smart, and they will pick up something quickly, and it's easy. It's crazy.
She put him in timeout.
Yeah, and you did it.
You did it.
They got yelled.
Now I know that daddy gonna put me in time. I can put daddy in timeout.
Oh, man.
Now she knows.
Man. Wow.
She is smarter than all of us.
Wow.
But, no, man, a lot to take away from here. We are blessed to have had you on.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Thank
I'm blessed
you
for the
sharing your
invite.
story.
I'm blessed for the invite.
Yeah, no, thank you, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. But
appreciate
We'll
y'all.
share all the details and hope to help you grow your passion project as well.
For sure.
Because that's amazing that the youth needs that.
Yeah.
They need guidance. They need structure. And wherever and however you can give back to that is amazing. So kudos to you to doing that.
Thank you.
Because that's a lot for you to take on with everything else you're going through as well. So good for you on that, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
us
you,
out.
Christian. Thank you, Varun. Thank you to everyone watching and listening. Season 2, episode 7 with
Walnut
Christian
Hills for bringing
Bradley.
these two guys
Shout out to
together.
Walnut Hills.
Yes,
Yo,
sir.
Walnut Hills community, stand up. Always rising, always flying, always soaring, and always leveling up. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode. Please do not forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at girldads.podcast. Also, check us out on our website, girldadspodcast.com. And please follow us on Spotify, Apple, listen, subscribe, YouTube, all of it. And we'll also drop in all the details for Fly for the Low as well. Thank you, y'all. Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Christian.